All right, so we should be live. All right, we should have sound now. I'm sorry about that. Got a late start. I hate when they start late. Just kidding. This is the first time I ever done this. So let me do a quick view here. Let me do a quick cheat. All I'm gonna do here is go to. I'm gonna double check my stream here, and hopefully I got some sort of haha. Good. All right. So we got some we got audio. All right. Here we go. Welcome to the cooking show. This is my first official little ghetto live stream um that I'm releasing live and in color and on the fly. Um so there's going to be technical hangups, I guess. I've done a bunch of these already, and for the most part, everything seems to be working and in order. Um, I, whatever, shit happens, and shit's gonna happen. You know, I got a couple of things, that I wanted to do. Kind of have like a live stream podcast. I got these little toys that I wanted to work on, and I said I was setting up, but at the end of the day, it was more important for me to start on time. So we're gonna go through it. I'm taking a little break from my work here, and we're gonna get this done. We're gonna get this done. Hopefully, all the audio is clear. Hopefully, the cameras all work. I've shown little bits and pieces of how this looks like um, on my little shorts for anybody that actually follows my social media. Oh, it just occurred to me that I should make that thing live. So I don't know if this computer is going to live here. I don't know. And these graphics, I just put those up there, and I totally forgot that I don't want them. So that's going to go away. Um, yeah, I just had them. So I'm just, like I said, I'm testing out this little rig that I got here, and to go live on these things here and talk to myself mostly, because this is going to be it here. I think one of the things that you got to do is, if you're going to be one of these people that go on live, first of all, you should do it with an anticipation of more than 10 minutes. But then it just occurred to me, hey, man, let me do something, right? Let me do something. Let me experiment. Let me do the thing. All right. So tonight, right now, I'm just going to show you how to do some slow cooker beans. All right. And we're going to get into it. Um, we're going to cook. I cook for myself. I'm just one cat um, doing this thing. So I don't, most of the recipes that you may come across online are going to be to cook these tremendous amount of beans in a big old pot, just like Mama used to make back in the day. I got my recipe down for me. What I do is I'll make it so that I'll eat that day, and then I'll freeze or put the rest in the fridge and then refry them later, and then basically have myself two servings of beans off of that pot, and then do it again. Now, I'm a big advocate for the Instapot. You can have your beans done in an hour that tastes just as good as Mama used to make over the stove for 3.5 hours. I That's what I like to do. But sometimes I just like to slow cook my beans, and we'll set it and forget it. And then when we wake up in the morning, we'll have a pretty decent little breakfast to go with whatever it is. So I think I'm going to split the live stream into two. Not that it, not that that's a thing or that anybody does that, but we're going to put the beans in, set them, and then tomorrow morning ish. I mean, it's not, it ain't really morning for me or for you guys, but it's morning for me. We'll have a late breakfast, early lunch sort of thing, and we'll cook up the beans, and I'll have that. Probably cook up my little classical go-to breakfast when I have eggs and beans sort of thing with some tortillas sort of thing, and some cheeses and stuff. So well, let's get to it. Here's what we're gonna do. Here's what it is. Now I am going to weigh out the beans. I think everyone should have some sort of scale at home. These things are very inexpensive. I'll show you my other one. This is the other one I have as well, and I use this for coffee. And I'll release the other live stream. The problem with live streaming is I don't think, first of all, when I do it, um, this may not be for kids. I curse a lot, and at the end of the day, I don't think I'm going to be monetizing too much or whatever it is the YouTube rules are on this. But yeah, I don't. It ain't going to be a safe for kids sort of environment, and I will try not to cuss, but man, sometimes it's just a you know things get the best of me. Things get the best of me, and then I'm in a position where it's awkward for me to explain to the kids what's going on. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. And maybe one day I'll show you how to do it over the stove top if that's what you want to do. But we don't need to do that. So this is a strainer, obviously, because we're going to wash them. All right, and use it. If you don't know how to use a scale, man, um, uh, we'll get into that. But you need to tare the weight. That means that it zeroes out the scale, right? And what we're going to do is 100, about 150 grams. We use metric scale here because it's easier. So about 150 grams of beans. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a bit. It's a thing. All right. So what we're going to do is wash these. All right. Let's get these washed and have at them. Going over the sink here. Now, normally, if you see any beans that are look ugly, go ahead and take them out. Now, back in the day, I remember some of the supermarkets. I'm gonna leave those there for now. Some of the supermarkets, and they still exist. They have these big old bins, right? And it's just full of beans. Sometimes they'll be full of pinto beans and black beans. These are, by the way, obviously, if you didn't see, they're black beans. They're my favorite beans. So you used to grab and scoop them up and throw them in there and throw them in a bag, and you'd weigh them out yourself and say, "Oh, I want." And it's usually way cheaper. The problem is that they are super dirty, right? They are. You need to clean them out and you need to wash them thoroughly. But they in them are twigs and dirt and all kinds of stuff. So what you have to do is you actually would have to sit and pick out, throw the beans here and then you pick them out and more or less pick out the twigs and the dirt and whatever other and the ugly ones, and you pick out the ugly ones. But here, when you buy them in these bags, you don't really need to do that anymore. You need to wash them. Ain't no thing about that. You need to wash them. So, uh, now where I live here, everyone talks about just make sure you wash them. In tap water is fine, unless you live in a place where the tap water is not fine. Then absolutely use regular or purified water, however you got it, however you obtain your water. Sorry, I got to get a little bit of water there. All right, so here's what we're going to do now. Okay, we are going to grab this is just your 2.5 quart, 2 quart slow cooker. It's tiny. Um, this is why I love making it. I'm looking to see what quart this is, how many quarts this is. I think it's only 2 or 3 quarts. This they sell it at Walmart, and it's $10, $10 or $12. It's super cheap to have. This is my second one because I dropped the other one and I broke it. All right, so we'll have that there. Okay, and this is I said I had all this stuff ready to go, but um, I didn't. I didn't have anything to go. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start up with our concoction of spices that we like to do here. Okay. Now keep in mind, and I um, must remind you that this is possibly half and maybe even a quarter of the amount of beans that you normally make in a family. Or if you are some sort of meal prepper and want to make these beans and stick them in the fridge and sell them in the freezer for later, a lot of people do that. That actually, I made that up. I don't know if a lot of people do that. Some people may do that. Um, one of the things we need to stop doing is saying shit like a lot of people do this or a lot of people do that, because seriously, you don't know a lot of people, and nobody runs these statistics on how many people do these beans. So no, I don't know if a lot of people do that, but I can see people cooking up a large amount of beans if they were a meal prepper, or if they, back in the day when we were a family of four, five, six, sometimes in a house living at the same time, um, how we needed that many beans. And here's the thing: in my house, and this is the part where it's racially insensitive. There's this slang term of the slang term is, beaner. They used to call us beaners as a little kid, right? Now, in my house, I don't mind telling you that for who knows 10 to 15 years out of my life in the beginning, we must have eaten beans 300 out of the 365 days a year. I love beans. I grew up beans, and one of the things my mom was really good at was cooking beans. Um, to the point where it was one she was asked to cook beans at. Now, granted, cooking beans is a kind of laborious, especially over the stove. But a lot of people would ask her kindly if she would cook the beans, and she would for parties and such. And she'd cook them in these big old pots sometimes. Um, and it's good. So with my techniques using slow cooker and even the Instapot, I'm approaching Master Chef status with the beans. I don't want to toot my own horn, but toot toot. You know what I'm saying? All right. So the other thing too is, so when these people, to finish the story, to finish the story, I told you there are going to be a lot of errors here. But to finish the story, I should be recording this. But to finish the story, when I was being called these racial slurs, I knew there were racial slurs at the time. But I didn't take it to heart. I'm like, yes, I am a beaner. I love beans. Why wouldn't I want to be a beaner? It's a beautiful thing being a beaner. And we consumed a lot of beans. We did. It was over crazy a lot. So I don't know, that term of beaner is more of a term of endearment for me than anything else. So I don't mind it so much. Now, what we're going to do here is I'm going to use measuring um, things for you people at home. Well, this might be a cooking show. It's my cooking show, and we do things my way here, okay? So, the first thing that we're going to do is use, I think this is upside down, chicken bouillon and a little bit of beef bouillon. You don't like one, you like another one, you don't want bouillon in there. Well, you want some sort of flavoring in there. If you're vegan, they have vegetable bouillon, man. So here's the thing. Here's another thing about these cooking shows that I need to talk to you about, man. These cooking shows. So my recipe is my recipe. If you don't like it, if you want to substitute something for it, go for it, man. Don't these other cooking shows like, well, that's not authentic. This isn't the way my mom used to make. And I'm like, fucking bastard, the fucking world is a lot bigger than your mama's fucking shitty kitchen. All right. Oh, I get into it with people and I hate to get into it with people on the interwebs. But what happens is these people are like, I go on the YouTube because I want to find how to make tamales, and we're going to show you those tamales soon. But it's one of these things where like people get into these arguments. That's not how my mom used to make them, and I'm like, dude, Mexico is a lot bigger than your mama's kitchen. She probably made some whack ass tamales, to be honest with you, from a fucking shitty state. And these are Oaxacan, Veracruzan tamales, fucking Pueblan tamales, dude. Tamales are artisanal. You can make them out of you want. The story that I hated was the fact that the girl goes, uh, "That's not how my mom makes tamales. Put nobody I know ever put frijoles, beans, in their tamales." And I'm like, "Listen, man, Oaxaca has a whole bunch of recipes on how to cook bean tamales, and it's a whole laborious artisanal process." So, um, anyway, this is my recipe. Change it up. You want to be completely vegan, you know what to do. If you are a vegan, you know what to do. If you're an aspiring vegan, please ask somebody. I am not a vegan. I don't know what you can and can't eat, but I think that a lot of these things are natural. But again, I like this is a teaspoon. So we're going to put a teaspoon here and a teaspoon here. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. You know what I'm saying? Put that in there. You got it, man. You got it. That's all you need for now. You got to watch the salt amount of salt that you put in there, okay? Because these already have salt content in them. All right, so be careful with how much salt you end up putting in there. There is a such thing as too salty. This is pepper. A lot of other recipes don't call for pepper. I do. This is my recipe. I call it. Now, this is the salt. I'm going to put a teaspoon of salt in there and call it a day. That's it. That's all we need to do. Don't get crazy with the salt because this stuff has salt. I freeze. This is a frozen chili serrano. Throw it in there. All right. Doesn't have to be frozen. I just buy a bunch and I freeze them up. So that's that. So if you don't want to put the chili in there, don't. Don't. Now, again, do your thing. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All right. The thing that we're going to add here, though, that I do like is I do like to put. Oh wait, hold on. I think I already have one chopped up. I chopped up one today when I was making a sandwich. Here we go. So for this amount, I like onion in my I do like onion in my like a lot of onion in my beans. You can use whatever onion you want. It's not. It's no. Ain't no thing. You want sweet onion. You want. I'm using this purple onion, and it's about a quarter of the size of a large onion. All right. So we're going to put that in there. All right. Um, the other thing we're going to use is garlic. Now you got to be careful with garlic. Um, we all love garlic. Do not get me wrong. It is a debated topic among how much you should have. By the way, bottled garlic is real garlic. Don't let them take. Don't let them beat you up over that. All right, you are you're okay. This is you're not going to lose taste. Let's just say I'm going to put in a tablespoon of garlic, maybe a little, maybe a tablespoon and a half. All right, don't you worry about that. You don't like garlic, don't put garlic, or use half the amount. But garlic is uh, a thing. All right. Let me get my. All right. So there's that. Now here's the. You need fat in it. All right. You need fat in your beans. I have lard. I use lard to cook. I've been using lard more and more over the past 3 years instead of um, processed oils. Now, I'm not a big advocate for super healthy eating. I'm not going to tell you what you can and shouldn't eat. That's not my intention. But um, I only use lard, extra virgin olive oil, and once in a while I do use peanut oil, even though it's still a sort of processed sort of thing. But to cook, I made fries the other day, and I'll show you how I make my fries live or release the live ones that I've done before. Um, to make my fries, you should cook them in lard and tallow. All right. Now I always grab just a sliver of this much lard, but let's measure it so that you and I can see um, how much it is. It's zeroed out, and I suspect something like 15 to 20 grams. Oh no, it's about 48, 47 grams. That's fine. Throw that in there. Probably a better measurement would be 30 grams. Probably 30 grams would probably be a better. That was a little thicker than I usually do it, but you need lard. The other thing that you can substitute lard for is chorizo. For this recipe, I throw in half a length of a chorizo in there. Man, that's delicious. But still put maybe a little bit of olive oil in there. All right. So we're doing that. One thing that you can do and that I forgot to do here is that you can have the water boiling and kind of speed up the process for the slow cooker. But I never that was never really a I don't think it speeds it up that much, to be quite honest. Um, I mean, it does, but when you're talking a difference, maybe 1 hour or 2 hours, um, it, this is going to be an overnight cook. It's going to be an overnight cook. Now, I want to make it clear. I don't know who all has issues with slow cookers and what's good for you, what's not good for you, what harms you, what doesn't harm you, how things get cooked in the slow cooker, whether they're frozen, whether you cook some sort of meat in there. All I can tell you is I've done this recipe dozens of times, and I've never gotten sick off of it. I don't know anyone else's experience with this, but again, slow cookers are the way to go. Um, I cooked something, man, I forgot the name of the Italian thing that I cooked in here. So what you do is you grab like these thin slices of meat and you roll them with cheese in them and a bunch of stuff. I think it begins with a B, and then you slow cook it in tomato sauce. Delicious. I like to make my pizza sauce slash spaghetti sauce when I slow cook it instead of over the stovetop. I'll slow cook it for a few hours and then not quite overnight, but it caramelizes a lot better for me that way. Um, all right, so we got our beans in there. Remember, it was 150 grams of beans. You don't need that much water. This is 600 grams of water, and it's only 600 grams because I was looking at something else. It could be 500 grams of water. I was just looking at something else while I was pouring it, and I over poured a little bit. Um, yeah, it's about 600 grams of flour. And that's pretty much it. What we're gonna do here is give it a stir. Ah, one last thing. So this is the part where your mom, your grandma, or whatever goes, "Hey, um, there's a secret recipe. There's something called um, epazote, and the damn it, I can't remember what the English word is for right now, and my phone is over there, and I don't want to reach it. Epazote in Spanish. It's a sort of herb that kind of like a basil leaf, but it might have a milder flavor on it that you can use, and you can add that. You can add cilantro to this if you want. But what I'm going to do here is just add the tiniest bit of Italian seasoning, just the tiniest bit. Maybe a teaspoon, right? Throw that in there. Now, this is normally pretty strong in and of itself, but that's all we need right here, man. This is it. This is it. All right. So let's cover it up. You want to make sure these things are covered up, right? And put it in our slow cooker. Oh, watch me break this. All right. So what I like to do, let's find my thing here. All right, let me make a mess here. Again, probably should have prepared a little more. You don't need to be seeing all the behind the scenes, right? So get in there. Bam. That's it right there. You want to put this on this side because it's kind of all right. So here's the thing. I put it on low setting. That's it. Just put it on set it here. We're going to put it on low. And in low, to be honest, it's kind of hard to it's going to be hard to quote unquote burn the beans, you're gonna have to try pretty hard to do that. Um, and believe me, I've come pretty close to where it's like, oh, if I would have left it there for a little longer, it could have been an issue. But in low, you can have them done. They'll be done in by morning time for sure, which is 10 o'clock. My morning time is about 10:30. It'll be up. Um, they'll be done by 10. They'll probably technically be done. Right now, it is what time is it? It's 10:39 Pacific time, in the year of our Lord 2024. Um, they'll probably be done in. They'll be edible in 8 hours, probably 9 hours. 10 hours, 10 to 11 hours is what we're gonna do. Um, that's where we're going with this. We're probably gonna well, we are gonna go to 12 hours, and in 12 hours, what we're gonna do is come back. I'll start live streaming tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I don't care. 10 o'clock, this thing's going. Yeah, that's not true. I'll probably start live streaming tomorrow at about 11 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow would be Friday. Hey, shit, tomorrow's payday. So tomorrow will be Friday the 24th. So yeah, probably about 11:30. See how we make it later and later every time? So about 11 o'clock, um, I'll be ready to go. And we'll look at the beans then. And then we'll cook breakfast. Super simple breakfast tomorrow. Um, I'll show you how I eat the beans first. When they're done like this, they're called. They look like it'll be black bean soup. Basically, it's what it is. Funny story. I gotta tell you the story. Hold on, I gotta tell you the story. All right. So when I was living in LA, for a little bit time, some of the best times in my life were in LA. I was really, this is when I started to cook for people. I really liked, I came up with my own recipe, and I'll cook them with you one day. Pineapple enchiladas. All right. I just came up with this recipe. It came to me and I made them, and they were actually delicious. They came out a lot better than I had expected. So I made pineapple enchiladas. But what I wanted to do was serve them with uh, what I called before. I didn't call it black bean soup. I called it something else, frijoles de la olla, right? And that's how I introduced them to everybody. I called them frijoles de la olla, and nobody basically ate them. They came out delicious, by the way, but nobody ate them. So what I ended up doing was, all right. I got sad that the beans are, and I froze them, and I did a bunch of stuff. So whatever. So what I ended up doing is I ended up cooking again. Right. I ended up cooking another dish, but this time, what I did to my friends, who you may have guessed by now were not Mexican, um, I called it black bean soup. Now, when I called it black bean soup, I made the same amount that I did last time, but now this time it was completely finished. Danny, what is this? This is so great. I've never heard of anything like this. I mean, they're frijoles de la olla, my brothers and sisters. They're frijoles de la olla, and it's called branding. And why the thing that just made me figure this out right now is this branding. The way people consume things is actually kind of funny. I was watching this short today on Lexus, right? How Lexus is Toyota, right? But Toyota in the states, and Honda to a certain extent too, and this is why the name Acura comes out for Honda. Lexus is a luxury line for Toyota, but in Japan, they don't have that. But you need that in the United States, because in Toyota, the brand Toyota in the United States is blue collar. Nobody, rich people don't want a Toyota. So they changed the name to Lexus. Why? Because it's a luxury export to the United States. That's how they got the name Lexus. According to the thing I watched in the interview on the interwebs, and it must be true, right? Because it's on the interwebs. So with that branding change, whoop, sales go through the roof. All right. Uh, so my whole point is that you just sometimes just need to change the name instead of changing your product. Haagen Dazs, there's a rumor, and I don't even know if it's true. According to Haagen Dazs, or according to some rumors, Haagen Dazs is just like any other ice cream, but all they did was like triple the price in their ice cream, and their sales went through the roof. And it was just considered a luxury item. I don't know if that's true. Let me know in the comments. anyway, anyway, so tomorrow, what we're probably going to do is I'm going to show you how to make some, I call them poor man chilaquiles. But they're not poor man. They're decent chilaquiles. They're completely acceptable. But we're gonna make some chilaquiles with black bean soup on the side. So when these beans are done, before I refry them, I'll eat them whole like this. And basically put them in a bowl and eat it like a soup, like a black bean soup. That's how I will consume my first serving of this. The second serving, I'll refry it up like you normally would. And I guess we'll show you how to do that as well, maybe tomorrow for lunch or something like that. But yeah, maybe tomorrow I will make some red chilaquiles. Super easy. How I make them, and they are perfectly acceptable to consume. Coming from a Mexican, listen. Sometimes you just want some chilaquiles, and you don't want to do the whole um, steam the tomatoes with the peppers. I mean, I could show you how to do that too, but we have a lot of those things are already made, and I'll show you how to do it out of a can and tortillas, decent tortillas. All right, I think that's it for now. I've gone on for just over a half hour. I'll show you how to make these slow cooker beans. I will log back on tomorrow morning ish and see how they came out. And that's that. All right. Take it easy, and I'll see you soon.